In a dramatic escalation of hostilities in the Middle East, Houthi rebels have launched a series of fresh drone strikes on Israeli territory. This comes just days after Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, issued a chilling warning against Israel's continued airstrikes in Syria, signaling a broader regional conflict. The Houthi spokesperson, Yahya Saree, confirmed that the drones targeted Jaffa, a coastal city near Tel Aviv, as well as Ashkelon, an important port city in central Israel. According to the statement from Saree, the strikes were part of a joint operation with Iraq's Islamic Resistance, a militant group with ties to Iran. The Houthi spokesperson claimed that the attacks had successfully struck vital sites in southern Israel, although details of the damage have not been fully disclosed. This unprecedented drone offensive is the latest in a series of retaliatory actions by Iranian-backed groups across the region. The Houthis, based in Yemen, have long been supported by Iran, both militarily and politically, in their fight against the Saudi-led coalition. The attack on Israel marks a significant expansion of the Houthis' reach, indicating a deepening of their alliance with Iranian forces and their regional ambitions. The use of drones in this latest strike is a testament to the growing technological capabilities of the Houthis, who have increasingly employed unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, to target strategic locations. Ayatollah Khamenei's warning against Israel's actions in Syria seems to have provided the impetus for the Houthi strikes. Khamenei's rhetoric has been pointed, denouncing Israel's continued air operations in Syria and the broader region. Iran views these strikes as part of a larger Israeli effort to undermine Iranian interests, particularly with regard to the presence of Iranian military forces and their allies in Syria. The Israeli military has repeatedly targeted Iranian positions in Syria, which it perceives as a threat to its security, especially in relation to the Iranian-backed Hezbollah militia. Khamenei's condemnation of Israel's actions is indicative of Tehran's increasing willingness to mobilize its proxies across the region, using them as instruments of influence in the wider geopolitical struggle. The strike on Jaffa and Ashkelon is significant not only because it targets two important cities in Israel but also because it highlights the growing reach of Iranian-backed forces. While the Houthis have focused their attacks on Saudi Arabia for much of the Yemeni conflict, their expanding operations into Israel's territory suggest a shift in focus, potentially in response to Israel's sustained strikes in Syria. The claim of a joint operation with Iraq's Islamic Resistance further complicates the regional dynamics, signaling closer cooperation between Iranian-backed militias across the Middle East. Israel's response to these strikes is likely to be swift and decisive, as the nation has consistently shown a willingness to retaliate against any perceived threat to its security. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, have not yet confirmed the full extent of the damage caused by the Houthi drones, but it is expected that they will launch counterattacks aimed at neutralizing the threat from these Iranian-backed groups. Israel's military has been on high alert in recent weeks, particularly due to the growing regional tensions and the increasing involvement of Iranian proxies in the Syrian and Yemeni conflicts. This escalation is part of a broader trend of rising tensions in the Middle East, where the rivalry between Iran and Israel has reached new heights. Israel's strikes in Syria have drawn increasingly vocal condemnation from Tehran, which has long viewed the Israeli presence in Syria as a direct threat to its own strategic interests. Israel, in turn, has emphasized the importance of countering Iranian influence in Syria and preventing the establishment of permanent Iranian military bases near its borders. The growing involvement of proxy groups like the Houthis, as well as Iraq's Islamic Resistance, underscores the regional nature of this conflict, which has seen the proliferation of militias and non-state actors wielding significant military power. The involvement of the Houthis in this conflict also raises questions about the broader implications for Middle Eastern stability. While the Houthis have focused their efforts on the Yemeni civil war, their increasing willingness to engage in cross-border strikes against Israel could have serious consequences for regional security. The Houthis' targeting of Israeli cities signals a shift in their military strategy, potentially opening a new front in the ongoing conflict between Iran and Israel. As the Houthis gain experience in conducting long-range drone operations, the potential for further attacks on Israeli territory becomes a real concern for Israeli security officials. Moreover, the participation of Iraq's Islamic resistance in the joint operation with the Houthis further underscores the growing network of Iranian-backed militias operating in the region. Iraq's Islamic resistance groups, including factions within the Popular Mobilization Forces (PMF), have been instrumental in supporting Iranian objectives in Iraq and Syria. Their involvement in the strike against Israel signifies a consolidation of Iranian influence and a willingness to extend the reach of Tehran's military proxies. The international community has yet to fully respond to this latest escalation, but it is likely that the United States and European powers will condemn the attacks. The Biden administration has maintained strong support for Israel, and any attack on Israeli soil is likely to prompt a swift diplomatic response. The United States has also voiced concern about Iran's growing influence in the region and the use of proxy groups to advance Tehran's interests. However, the complexities of the Middle Eastern geopolitical landscape make it difficult to predict how global powers will react to the involvement of the Houthis and Iraq's Islamic resistance in this latest flare-up. As the situation continues to evolve, it is clear that the Middle East remains a volatile and highly contested region, where regional powers, militias, and non-state actors all vie for influence. The latest Houthi drone strikes on Israel highlight the increasingly interconnected nature of these conflicts, as Iranian-backed groups extend their reach and capabilities. The growing use of drones as a weapon of choice in these battles signals a new era of warfare in the region, one in which asymmetric tactics and proxy conflicts will likely play an even more prominent role. The stakes are high, and the potential for further escalation remains a looming concern for all parties involved.